What's going on, traders? How we doing? I know I'm having a great day. The question is, how was your trading day? Let me know in the chat. Was it a green day, red day? Let's take a look underneath and see what the markets are showing right now. Of course, we got some big earnings coming through tonight, so don't miss that. Of course, we can go through the earnings calendar today. If you guys want to talk all about this is the place to be, right? The big earnings after the bell. We got, of course, what's going to come tonight. Well, you get Microsoft, Alphabet, Visa, Snap, Texas Instrument, Teladoc, Waste Management, and then tomorrow before the open, T-Mobile, Boeing, General Dynamics, Moody's will be reporting, of course. Take a look at the ADP. And then tomorrow after the close, we got Meta, IBM. Big earnings coming through. And then, of course, Thursday, we'll get into Amazon and Intel. But let's take a look at what's going on today. Another bounce back day as we reject the move lower from the 420 area. And we've been talking about this yesterday. Would we get another green day? And there you guys have it. Another green day indeed. And it did go close to that 420 area and then now starting to turn back around. Now, one thing that I've been noticing more and more that I need to do in this environment right now, what have I been seeing on the 5 minute? And I'll show you guys it right on the cues. I always like to give you guys some insight. Of course, this is coming a lot also from what's been going on in kind of live trading stream. And what have we been seeing on the short time frames? A hell of a lot of chop. And how do traders get around chop? Well, they get around it a number of ways. One way is to stay small so you don't get chopped out in between the range, right? Another thing is use indicators like use an ATR. But I think the best indicator here will be what? Using deeper time frames. So you don't catch what is the short-term move, but more in the medium trend and the longer trend as it speaks. So that's using the hourlies and the daily charts to help us determine where we could see the market moving. And I think this is important to take a look because the truth is you've been getting a lot of range-bound moves. One of the ways to get around that is to go deeper in the time frame and look for these kind of tests to resistance, then tests to support, right? I mean, it plays in a lot of the times, even on the hourly, right? So here is a move to resistance. It tests it, it comes back down to support. It tests it, it comes back down to support. Now you're testing it again. Now, how many times is this a test? Well, this is the third test. We'll see if we come right back down to 356 or eventually get back through that 363. And this is why I love the hourly charts and why I think the hourly chart is my best chart to use, especially when it comes to swing trading. So let's take a look at some of these stocks that are reporting tonight to see how they're setting up and how, like, let's say Microsoft is setting up. All right, so I'm going to go towards another board here. Let's go to the scratch, and I'm going to erase all, and we can start over here. Let's take a look at it on an hourly basis. Then we'll go, let's start on the daily first. We'll go from daily to hourly. I always like to work backwards, not forward. So let's start with the daily, right? Daily was this topping. This was the last earnings, right? You can see that we've tried to come back above this multiple times. Where was the support here? Well, the support was right around here, around this 342. So that's going to be an area where definitely you're going to see some fighting. And then another support. I'm looking back in this period here on the left-hand side, not the right, trying to align where I see resistance become support. And I see that right around this level. So then I look to the right. Does it work? Yeah, it seems to work pretty well there. Maybe we can pull it down now as we see these close here. So if we wanted to, we can pull it down towards the 311.61. But we can clearly see that we're in a little bit of a bunch up form right now. And this is kind of where we're going to get into more of the hourly chart. Let's get to it. All right. So when we look at it on the hourly chart, what do we see a little bit more of? Well, we see a lot of attempts towards the support right around here, this 328 area. And there's another layer. You can look to the left, right? Always look to your left to try to find that next layer. This was kind of that in-between stage that became the next layer of support around the 325.25 area. Now, one thing that I'd be pointing at is if we could have a good earnings report and push back above these levels towards the 340s, this is going to be able to break out above this little rectangle and maybe test the 342s tomorrow. That's one thing that I will be watching after hours. Like always, I don't play the earnings, but I pay attention really closely to levels before the earnings come so that when I come in tomorrow, and if I see Microsoft at, let's say, 320, I have an outlook. And if I see Microsoft above 340s, I have an outlook also. Being prepared in situation analysis, I think, is very important when you're getting into trading, because the truth is, no one knows what's going to happen on the earnings tonight, but we can definitely catch to see what happens here and then have reactions ready. Google also, or Alphabet, whichever way you want to call it. I had put this box a little while back, right? I created this on July 24th, and I was looking to see if we were going to ever kind of fill this box. Go back to all-time highs there on Google. I think that's an important outlook to kind of keep watch. Will we make that move? Well, with one good earnings report tonight, we could be in the 145s and 150s. So we'll see what happens tonight on Google, but the setup's still bullish. And why do I say it's still bullish? Because look at this 50 exponential moving average, and that's the yellow line you see here. And I'm going to lower down the RSI and the average true range so you don't have to focus on that. But you guys see the yellow line. Look how it's been holding really well. It held here. Look at this whole area that it held there. And then recently we came back to break it again, and it held again. And then what do we do just yesterday? Another attempt to break that down. That gives at least the attempt of another resistance try. And if we think about it in this case, like a trend line, you can see how you're approaching that trend line. Now we really just want to see, does the earnings clear 142? If we gap above the 142, there's no reason why we can't test the 150s. So I will be watching that move tonight. And am I going to bet anyway? No. When will I start to look Google for maybe a short opportunity? Is when we come back in this area and are below the 50 exponential moving average. So that's what I'd be watching. We'll see what happens if that happens tonight. Let's say if for any reason this is back down below, let's say 130s, 132. Yeah, we're going to be looking a lot more for that turnaround. And then what could be the next move to target? I'd be targeting this area, the 200 exponential moving average. So maybe getting short somewhere in here, trying to ride the stock down to here. We'll see what happens there, guys. All right, guys, smash the like. I hope you guys like this outlook of these earning stocks, and we can keep going through them. I don't know if you guys caught my video, of course, the regional bank crisis that I see out there kind of building, and there's been a lot of you guys that have watched the video. I'm going to throw up the link here towards the end of the show so that you guys can go tune in and check that video out. I hope you guys do. I mean, thousands of you guys have already checked it out. So, hey, you guys, if you haven't watched it, here's the link. I'm throwing it up in the chat, and I'll throw it up one more time near the end of the show. Let's keep going, guys. Let's take a look at what else is moving here on earnings. And I'm just going to take a little sip of water as we take a look at the earnings calendar. And you guys in the chat, let me know, what stock are you guys looking at on this report? Of course, we just went through Microsoft, Alphabet. What do you guys want to go through next? Visa, Snap, Teladoc? Are you guys into the trash waste management stock? You guys let me know in the chat. Drop in there. All right, down in some water, and I'm back. Let's get after it, team. Let's see. What do you guys want to take a look at? Let's go to Visa. How's that? All right, so Visa here. Visa will be reporting the earnings, and of course, you guys know I'm not the biggest bull in the financial area right now, but no positions on. Going to be looking for this to kind of reject. And what do I see here? A clear head and shoulders. So now I'd be looking to see if on this report we break the neckline. The neckline had already attempted to get broken, and then we recovered. And so that's right around this area. So if we could be below the 230s on this report, yeah, this is going to be looking pretty bad here. So I'm going to go ahead and I can draw it up there, and I'm going to put a red line here to just remind me, hey, if we break this, Visa is looking pretty red. And so right here on the 230s at 229.70s, I'm going to set an alert to let me know if we start to break down into that space. And if Visa does do that move, watch for MasterCard, watch for other trades that kind of do something similar. Look at the MasterCard and how it's showing up before the action happens. So before the earnings report, are we looking pretty bearish on this move? Yeah, we already are. So let's see if we see Visa start to break down. MasterCard doesn't look the greatest. Take a look at that head and shoulders. Look at this, guys. Does that look like a head and shoulders pattern? Hell yeah, that looks like a head and shoulders pattern. And this is the daily chart. We're not talking hourly. So same thing that could happen here in MasterCard that has already happened, which is a break of the neckline. And you see us rejecting this line already, which is a bad sign there for MasterCard. But look at that. Look at that rejection here. Look how it's starting to use this now as resistance when it was support here. That shows me something. That tells me that this earnings report could be something to unravel. All right, let's see what else happens there. That's Visa. Let's go to Snapchat. Snapchat. All right. Well, I'll tell you one thing. There's a lot of bottoming on Snapchat's chart. Just take a look at this. This is the daily chart, and let's go to the weekly. It'll clean it up for us. So you guys can see it here. All the bottoming actions here and how we just turned around the 850 area. Well, how many times was that down here? That was down here 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So if we come back down there, yeah, I'll be looking that Snap probably goes back to like $5 or something. I'm not really going to be looking to short that. But does this look almost to you like this could be starting to turn around a little bit? It does. Now, what's going to get me to actually think that Snap actually is turned around? It would have to make a massive move. It would have to be up in this space. So we're talking about a move back up into 14.13s, right? Because that's pretty big move there. We'll see what happens there if it starts to make that move towards the upside. But it's something definitely to keep your eyes on. And another one that this stock runs with all the time is Pinterest. So if we do see Snap make that move, watch for Pinterest to get above this resistance. This is going to be a green light if we can get the move, right? And that's how I like to look at the earnings a lot. So if Snap has a decent move today, Pinterest is going to be looking pretty decent, not to be down here in this red space, because we get a disaster report on Snap and we could easily be at 23s and 24s and 23s here and start to see that decline come in. But back above the 30s, and you could get a little bit of a push there on Pinterest, but that looks bearish to me. This looks like a what? A bearish triangle, right? A declining triangle, right? So we'll see what happens here. As it starts to get back towards the 30s, can we actually close above that? We'll find out tonight. All right, which program am I using? Well, you guys see me using TC 2000 here, but like always, what I do is just use tools that you guys are using. I mean, tools is always important to you guys. The only reason I kind of mainly use this is because I'm able to do this in such a quick manner in front of you guys, where I can go from sectors to industries. And I think it's very important to do that, right? Because that's definitely going to help you guys find what I call intermarket analysis, right? And sector and industry analysis. But definitely keep your eyes on it. It's an interesting program, it's TC 2000, but you can do this the same way on different programs like Benzinga Pro. You just need to be able to kind of decipher between sectors and industry. All right, let's keep going. Do you do Comcast? Is Comcast reporting right now tonight? Let me see. Let's take a look here. CMCA. That's what's the ticker again? I always get this one wrong. CMCSA. Bum bum. All right. So what do we see here? Well, let's compare it to the relationships, right? And this is why I also find this so important, right? I can just compare it to the relationships and how things are doing today. Of course, this is in the communication services, and you're kind of go to your telecom services, right? So I can even kind of decipher between those. What have been the names there? Well, you got Charter, right? Comcast, and you got like kind of T-Mobile. T-Mobile, best of breed. I wouldn't bet too much against T-Mobile. I mean, look what they have done in the last kind of 10 years. Honestly, one of the best stocks you could have invested in the last 10 years is this one right here, T-Mobile. If you have that investment, hey, shout out to you guys because you killed it. You absolutely murdered it. But look at this. This looks a little bit better. This looks kind of like an inverse Head and Shoulders. Doesn't look too bad. It looks like it wants to kind of get a move back above the 460 area. We'll see what happens there. Let's go to Comcast. What is it you see there? Well, you already see the Head and Shoulders pattern and the neckline break. So this is the Head and Shoulders on the downside, and this is the upside neckline break. And what happened after that? You did another pattern here, a symmetrical triangle, and you pushed above. So not bad at all here. And so now you're seeing a flagging pattern that it's in right now. And this is definitely a daily flag if I've ever seen one, right? I mean, you guys see this, right? This little flag pattern right there. You could draw this a little bit, extend this a little bit down closer towards the 42. But that looks like a nice little daily flag on Comcast that's trying to get back there towards 47. How will this kind of keep moving? We'll see what happens. But it does have that flagging pattern. I think it really needs to get back above this level. This is where it's going to find some fight. And why is it going to find fight? Because look over here, how it struggled in this spot. So I would be looking up in that spot, the 48s. Can we get above that 48 on the next time that you're above this trend line? So if you get above that trend line and you make a move into the 46 and 47, you got to watch that it doesn't struggle there at that 48. We'll see what happens there on Comcast. And like always, determine your own levels. It's very important. It's how you're going to trade when the moment comes. Smash the like if you guys are enjoying this stream. This is what it's all about, going through the market, going through stocks that you guys want to see. Like always, I'm here for you guys, so keep throwing them up in the chat. And Seekin said, I invest in T-Mobile every month. Yeah, we've been doing the wrong investment, Seekin. We've been paying them versus investing in them. That's two different worlds, man. All right, guys. Lucas, has short interest in Mara changed after the last 2 days? The only problem with that, Lucas, is that we don't get the information from FINRA on short reports consistently. And that's the problem. You're not going to know that answer. Probably no one knows that answer if the short interest has increased in Mara in the last 2 days. Maybe in the last, let's say, like 6 or 7, because you go back to the middle of the month. Maybe you can get an answer there. But that's the biggest problem that I have with short interest information and trying to trade off of it. It's very lagged and it's very delayed and doesn't give advantage to who? You out there, the retail trader watching this right now. Because institutions, yeah, they get access to information like nobody's business. But the truth is, the person that gets held out a lot of the time on the short interest information is you guys out there, is us, the retail traders. All right, let's see what happened there in Mara. I was taking a look at Mara today, like right near the end here, to see if it was maybe going to make an up move towards the close here. The only question is, would we just get an inside day and then the next step up? I haven't taken a look at it since like probably about 3 p.m. Let's find out together what's going on. All right, so there you guys see it. It's starting to make that move back, and it did make a little of an attempt to the downside, and this is the hourly chart. This is why I look at the hourly chart so much lately, because we're getting these attempt to hourly supports, and this action would scare the living hell out of you on a 1 minute. But if you're looking at it on the hourly, you're like, come back to that 950 area. I'm willing to buy you when you come to this wick area. You see wicks right here? I always say it, wicks can be tricks, and tricks are for kids, right? So you don't want to get caught like stopping out in that area while people are buying up that area. It's going right back to it. So this actually looks good that it could attempt to go right back to that 1070. And this is why I also look for what? Big time frame type of pullbacks. And the hourly chart is going to help you on that. The 5-minute chart, how does this look? This looks scary. This looks like it wants to just completely get destroyed. But what happens right after that? It bottoms out right around the 950s. And does it go right through it a little bit? Yes. And so this is why I would go about this in a slow buy versus a fast buy. So going up on it and kind of sizing into the position and now looking for maybe taking a swing trade. Doesn't look too bad. Let's take a look at Riot. Very similar charts, right? Let's go to the hourly. What do we see? Hourly support. Multiple times it goes to the wick. And what do I say about wicks, guys? They're tricks. That's, of course, what can happen now, starting to come back. So looking for hourly time frame pullbacks while the early day traders get wiped out is easy way how swing traders make money on these day traders. Let's take a look at Penn now. Another mention in the chat here. Kevin, let's go take a look. Penn has this been a complete disaster, man. Complete disaster. Just when I thought that this stock could come back, and I played this multiple times. You guys remember I was calling it out. I was like, okay, maybe Penn can change tune. No, this stock is just, and I'm sorry to say it, man. This thing looks like straight trash, man. This is horrible. I would just, and I hate to use the Kramer button, but
sell.
At least for myself, man. I don't like this stock one bit, and it just can't get it going, man. Even when things start looking good, they're like,
mission failed. We'll get them next time.
It just doesn't look good right now, guys. DKNG, look at DKNG, Donkey Kong, though. This hasn't wanted to come back down. This is a completely different chart than what you're seeing in Penn. So if you're looking at Penn, you're looking closer into the casinos. And for that, you have to look at like Las Vegas Sands, and you can look at Wynn. Those look better for me than looking at like a Penn National Gaming. It just doesn't look good at all on that chart. Honestly, an ugly looking chart. Sorry, Kevin. If you're bullish, probably not the guy to come to. All right, Lucas, what's up out there? Looks like people got spooked on Bitcoin with BlackRock ETF being removed off the TCC site, but apparently it's reposted again. A lot of confusion info, but Bitcoin has held. Yes, Bitcoin has done really well. You guys see me using TC here, but I'm going to actually bring in Benzinga Pro so that we can take a look at Bitcoin because TC doesn't even have it. So they struggle there. I mean, I don't know why they don't have the charts struggling there. That's why I go to Benzinga Pro. Let's bring up Benzinga Pro and let's take a look here, guys. So I'm bringing up Benzinga Pro right on the screen here for you guys. You guys can see my setups on Benzinga Pro. If you guys are ever wondering how to do setups like I have here, and I think it's always important to kind of have some really cool setups. Check it out, guys. So let's go to that chart. Let's go take a look at what's going on Bitcoin. And look, I have it up right now. I was taking a look at it earlier to see how it was going to kind of work, but let's go to the hourly chart and see how it's kind of working out. This one takes a little bit to load, but I'll get it up in just a second here. And we can take a look how Bitcoin is moving today, right? I normally don't go to it, but I understand why you guys are looking at it. I mean, can you blame yourselves? Like, this has been a big rip up, right? So one thing that I would say is look for maybe attempts back here towards this 33,100 area. The same way that I approach stocks is the same way I would approach these stocks too, right? And for my Benzinga users out there, you can do Alt-H for a horizontal line. If you don't want to press the keyboards, I know there's some little hotkeys. So right here in this area, if we can get a pullback in that area, that could be where you can maybe find some buyers. And what have we seen lately? We've seen one push up, a pullback. Second push up, a second pullback. I'd look for that pullback to come and then look to see if we get another third move up where? Into this space. So this space, I want to see if we can make our move into that. right? So let me actually kind of get you guys a little bit of a better brush here. Let's go to let's do a kind of an orange look here. So the stock has made that nice little push up, right? Now I want to start seeing what happens next. So there's another way that we can do this too. I can draw the line here and we can use that kind of the multi. Let's do I don't want to do the sin pattern. So let's just keep it on the draw here. So now I'd be looking for that nice little pullback into that space. Look for us to get into that and then make that move back up. Because then from there, we're going to have this approach where we can kind of get towards a trend line approach. And this is going to be an area to look for the buy. Really what's going to be important, can we close back above that 348 area? But that's going to be the area where I'll be watching. Of course, up here, I wouldn't buy. I would be looking for the breakout towards the trend line, but we'll see what happens there. And that's the way that I could see Bitcoin. We'll see. It's going to be a battle. And about all that information, I mean, you can always look and try to trade kind of Coinbase. Those are stocks you can definitely kind of trade on it. Look at Coin right now. You guys see how this has been performing. And I kind of like that it pulled back here. Why? Because it's pulling back to hourly support. So do I think that traders could get in here on this 8130 call? Yes, they could take the shot. But if I would take the shot, I'd be coming at this very small, right? If I wanted to take a swing trade on this, I would, and I would take it very small, like 82.23s, maybe risk off of that 81 low, and then I'm risking about $1.20. So how much do I got to make if I'm risking $1.20? For me, I would have to risk all the way up to make a 3-to-1. So that's 340s. So I'd have to at least make it back there towards 85.77. Doesn't look too bad to maybe take that shot overnight, but I have no idea how Microsoft is going to go. I have no idea how Google is going to go. If they destroy the queues, guess what? Forget your Bitcoin trade, because I don't see coin going higher if they get wrecked tonight. So that's the hard part about doing the swing trades tonight. Whenever I have these major earnings nights, I try to stay away from doing too many swing trades because let's just be honest, Microsoft and Google, they drive the market a lot. The Qs drives the market a lot, especially right now when a lot of people are focused in high, heavily positioned in what? In technology. All right, I'm glad you enjoyed that outlook there on Comcast. Your analysis makes sense. Still using the 9 EMA that you suggested a while ago and having success. I love to hear that. Comments like that is what it's all about, Steve. And then you actually like maybe taking a little bit of some education here and then testing it out yourself and letting me know the feedback of how it works, because that makes me really what this is all about, which is paying it forward, trying to help you guys bend that learning curve. Do I know everything? No, but there's one thing for certain. I've been battling at this trading game since, it's hard to say it now, but since about 2016, right? And so it's been about 7 years at this. And I definitely have learned a couple of tricks underneath my belt. And I have a lot of tools in my tool belt. That's why I try to study a lot of different areas and try to bring them to the show. The 9 EMA is definitely something that works pretty interesting, especially on the shorter time frames. But that's why you see it on my screen all the time. That's the light blue line. And so you see how this stays a lot of the times below or above the price action. When the stock is trending on the daily, look for it to stay below the price action. When the stock is kind of getting in that bearish mode, look for it to stay above. Some people use the 10, which they use that because a lot of the Keltner channels. And then another one that's commonly used is the 20, right? But I feel like at the 20, you're a little late to the game. But the 9 will kind of fluctuate a little bit more. All right, let's keep going. Jennifer says the 21 and 70 EMA has been helpful as well. Love to hear it. And that's what it's all about. Finding things like this and them helping you. Find what works for you and then expand on that. Learn why it works for you and how can you learn and make this even better. I think that's always important. All right, let's keep going, team. Let's see what else we got. It's 4:01. The earnings are starting to come in here. So let's just take a peek at the price action to see if we're already seeing it. And look at that. Look where the 342 was. Look, we're above that. So let's look to see if we close above that and open tomorrow above that 342. That's actually going to help the coin move potentially. And we'll see what happens on Google as they report. Look how they're pushing on the 140. Will they close above the 142? We did the outlook into the earnings. Now to kick you guys over, and we will have some earnings calls right here on Benzinga. So don't miss it like always. I hope that you guys appreciate me getting into the earnings calendar. Now go take a look. And if you're not getting the earnings in real time, just go to pro.benzinga.com and you guys can get your 2-week trial today. And check it out as the action happens. Look at Google now starting to turn around. Be careful on earnings. I always say this, guys. There's a lot of fake outs. The algos push it up. It comes right back down. It pushes up, comes right back down. I never play these moves. I know Dennis Dick out there plays these moves, and I don't know how he does it. If you want, talk to him about it, because I tell you, I stay away from this because this could happen. Wick to the upside, through the trend line, trick, trick, trick. Down goes Frazier. I'll see you guys in the morning on Pre-Market Prep. And don't forget, check out my video, team. Check it out. It's in the chat right there. See you next time.